So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you out there. Welcome to another episode of Solutionaries. I'm your host, Michael DiMartino, here on Regenerative Media TV, where we look at various people and projects that are doing incredible work to help regenerate the planet and the human condition. So, today I'm joined with someone else who resides here in Colorado, who I met years ago with her project Bringing Home America, which is now morphed into another project called Democracy We the People. So I'd like to welcome Donna Bell. So welcome, Donna.
Thank you. It's beautiful to be here. And it's beautiful to be a clarity for this kind of thing and what's occurring in our nation.
Absolutely. So, as many of us know, there's a lot happening in the world right now on all fronts with environment, with politics, with economics, with some of the various social issues that are happening. But to start with, just tell us a little bit about who Donna Bell is and a little bit about your past and what brought you to the work that you're doing right now.
Okay. I want you to know they've got my name as DAWNA, which is fine. It's normally spelled DONNA, but it's perfect because I recognize myself all the time as the new dawn. Okay. And that is to recognize that the things that I did in the past set up for what the conversation I'm having right now. So I had a famous cleaning company, and for the Bay Area, for the top leaders, for people who are actors, it didn't matter. But it was always for me about cleaning in a way that allowed people to get present to a beauty of who they were that they didn't know was possible. And then all of a sudden, after years of doing this, I was to receive a prompting from God that I was going to be working with the poor. And I didn't know at all what that meant. Within 3 days, actually, a member of the Osmond family had heard me on national radio talking to people about how they could be present in their own environments and make such a difference without having to get cleaning companies to go out and do it. And so immediately when that happened, 3 days later, I turned everything over. And I just knew if this is what I was told, then it was all going to show up for me the way I was meant to be. And I left.
And so, who are some of the people you worked with when you were in the Bay Area?
John Denver, Buckminster Fuller of the Geodesic Domes, the Hunger Project, all the affiliates connected to Werner Erhard and Associates, and all the forum leaders. We were cleaning their houses.
Amazing, amazing. All right, so you let your business go, and what happened from there to help you? And again, we had met years ago about Bring Home America. What happened over the next few months or next few years that brought you into doing the project that you're now embellishing?
It escalated so fast when I just trusted and I showed up. And then the next thing you know, I realized, oh, the way I had always trained my people that were the employees that went out into the homes, they were trained in how it was to be present without any judgment before going into the home or leaving the home. And what's really funny is if they didn't do that expression of what they were trained in, I'd get calls from people in their homes saying, oh, my house got cleaned. And I'd say, that's great. And they'd say, there was no magic. And I said, oh. So then I'd turn around and have my team have to go back and do it without any judgment. So that's what it was. So then I realized, oh, so as people lined up immediately wanting to work with the poor, they didn't know how. And the how for me was just being able to teach people how to be present. In other words, if you've got judgment going on in yourself, and this isn't just about churches, this is just what's so. when you have judgment going on in yourself, that becomes a projection onto others. And I was realizing, oh, do not judge lest be judged. And then I recognized that the beauty of it was, as people lined up to work with the poor, we discovered as a group, I mean, I trained thousands of teams. We were not, internet wasn't there. We were on television and radio. And you'll see one of the examples today.
Here she's cleaning an Orem home with the help of more than a dozen volunteers.
We just keep the movement going. That's all we do.
They're people who've been taught by Donna at her weekly seminars how to de-junk their own homes. And many of those here have already felt the excitement of purging their homes of the clutter. Stephen and Roseanne Brandley say de-junking their home helped their whole family focus on what really counts.
You come home and you feel at peace, your children feel at peace, and you head out the door in the morning and you feel good about yourself and about your home, and you have a positive impact on those around you.
I started inviting people in. Come see my kitchen. You can see my ledges. The only thing that's on my ledges is my microwave and my telephone, and it feels great.
Donna says it's not about clutter, it's about feelings. The feelings get us trapped in patterns that become overwhelming. The cleaning becomes the cleansing.
So what you've got is this emotion that's locked into all the things around us.
Donna says we've all got a closet or cupboard we're afraid to open. She says that's the place we resist the most. But she says by analyzing what we're keeping inside of that closet, what we're hanging on to, we can learn a lot about ourselves. The growth comes when we decide to let go of it.
Oftentimes you stand by while a person really is crying their heart out and getting in touch with the thing that they're really letting go of.
Donna calls it a miracle she witnesses every day.
Is this a lot different? Yeah. What did it look like before? A mess.
Donna says she's seen a new, clean environment at home change entire family systems. Her organization is called Glory of Homes, and it's entirely volunteer work. If you'd like to get involved, you can call her toll-free at this number, 1-800-868-1586.
500 calls came in that night.
Amazing. So after you left the cleaning business, you said you started working to the poor. And what did the next few years look like for you?
Oh my gosh, for like 7 years, I had 2 radio shows a week. And then I was constantly being followed around by newscasts. And what it looked like is it became recognized by top leaders, including beautiful Governor Levitt and the United Nations, when they had all the top leaders come in for the actual celebration of the International Year of the Family. And I was invited to that, and they were talking about the results that were occurring in the community at such a rapid rate that it was affecting whole neighborhoods, it was affecting the city, it was affecting the top leaders. I didn't go out to top leaders to train them. They came in and wanted to work with me as I worked with the families and we went into the homes. Now, can you imagine the beauty of who these individuals are? We call them poor, but it wasn't about poor. It was about them letting in 30 people a house and then trusting all that. What I began to teach my people who were the volunteer teams was they were the champions. We were having the opportunity to have our hearts reshaped and being able to see these families rise off of welfare in 1 to 3 months. That's what we were known for. And what I did was taught everybody, love your neighbor as yourself. We couldn't go into any of those homes without knowing that there was no judgment in any way. And then when we go in, we were teaching them, but the volunteers didn't know we were teaching the volunteers too. We were teaching them how to recognize their generational patterns that were coming from Depression era mentality related to war in the way in which their environment showed up. And so as we were teaching, we were just not doing it for. One thing I emphasize, we do not do it for people. They literally are the ones that would create us at the group level we are from the prayers that were there in their own hearts. And we were responding to how they could recognize and be at choice with everything they had in their environment. So you're talking about what the world would have called hoarders was a gift to us as the volunteers that allowed us to recognize what these generational patterns are that are there in the hanging on attitudes. And as they would get in touch with pain, they'd get in touch with the tears. They'd get in touch with the pain of how they'd been situated for all those years out of hanging on to everything. But then as they could feel and they could recognize and be at choice. So the women went in a natural way. The men followed, but they had to obey us as the leaders in working with the women in the home. And so the beautiful men would obey us in not doing anything unless the woman of the home gave them permission for what they wanted to do. So there was no good ideas of going in and trying to do things. It was listening from what their choice was and how they, out of our love without judgment, could be able to rise out of the conditions that had entrapped them, called welfare, called poverty, and they did. In 1 to 3 months, they rose off welfare permanently.
Amazing. And is that the work you're doing now, or how has that evolved? I know we're going to show a video in another moment.
Well, the video you're going to show, I had never used to show to anybody, but I knew it was a gift and it would be signified to me by God if I was ever to share it. So the video you're seeing is from a beautiful man who was a TV producer, is what I remember. And he created this 1 year later after I had worked with his family, who had instantaneous results with his wife, his children, his relationship with his business, and the expansion that occurred in his relationship to the communities. And so he created this as a gift and gave it to me. And then when I connected with you in the most unusual ways, Michael, that's when I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, they're to see that video. And at the end, it definitely reveals something we put at the end of everything that he's speaking that is about the behavior science assessment that I created with my team over the last 3.5 years that recognizes the work I did with the wealthiest to the lowest of income over the years. The beauty of the people that went out as volunteers, they were all different members of churches. There was no situation of trying to push against. They were member of all different races, all different colors, the Native Americans, the whites, the blacks. We were just all being, and I realized later we were showing up like a Zion. And what I mean by that, being pure-hearted in the love of what we were engaged in with each other and on behalf of what we were doing, and discovering what would make this difference. And everyone was having magic in their lives. And I'm saying magic just simply because sometimes people get a little bothered when it's miracles. but it was just what was happening for the volunteers, recognizing from how they were supporting, quote, what the impoverished was. And I would always say that the ones who we call poor are the gift to us in how we can be reshaped in our hearts. And that's what happened over and over and over again. And I just kept hearing all the miraculous that was occurring with people that were the volunteers. And now even some of those people that are on that video actually have gone on and created amazing things in city, where they've got everybody participating from every direction out of the work that we just simply did of going in with sacred principles of cleaning and being able to love your neighbor as yourself and being able to recognize things without any judgment and be the listening for what these individuals were meant to face, that were actually complementing what we were meant to face. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is kind of the, sounds like the germination of this project, Bringing Home America, which is now morphed into something else called Democracy, We the People.
Well, and that I say that because I celebrate the ones that are standing up across the nation as you go into what my website is. And as we keep showing up in the different communities, we'll have videos up, and there will be a podcast called Bring Home America. I look at everything not as a judgment, but as an opportunity of recognizing even what the breaking apart is that awakens individuals to being able to deal with the calamities right in front of us. The thing I came to recognize, because I went through a 9.25 earthquake, okay, in San Francisco. What I came to recognize is that calamities force everybody to have to deal with what's in front of them, of the ones that remain, okay? And we deal with things from a whole different level. And what I saw was, see, when we went out and worked in the communities, when I mentioned in the website, is that we were the earthquake of friendship and peace. And that's what got named about us by top leaders in Utah.
Before we
Yeah.
go to the video, can you
Yeah.
just tell people the website address? We're going to
Sure.
show it in a few minutes, but if people want to look it up.
Absolutely. The video is a different thing. The
Yeah. And what's the
is
website?
bringinghomeamerica.org. Now, this is the beginning because our other website broke apart that I was ready. And this is where my commitment is being able to be with people in all the different ways that we can be in building up our communities of America, coming from our relationship to our neighbors, our friends, all the ones around us, and being able to have that. Because I got to see it, it was constant. There was no racism, there was no separatism. There were people wanting to go out who are wealthy to go out and work in the homes. That's all. So it was just people wanting to know how they could make a difference.
Amazing. And it's obviously perfect time for this type of work right now, especially with the level of divisiveness and also the escalation of some of these natural disasters that are happening that are really encouraging, but almost forcing people to be able to start working together to get things done.
Yeah.
So very timely that you're bringing this lifetime body of work out.
Well, and the thing is, when we're the earthquake of friendship and peace, we don't have to be forced. It disappears the need for calamities. We've got it right in front of us. And the calamities are opening up our hearts. I've seen the most beautiful things by certain actors and stuff, suddenly being aware that they needed to do more. And the truth is, it's right there. It's just, it is not hard to go in and to be connected to people, that have natural products that can be there for the families, that we have trainings for the veterans. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I know exactly how we can go in and have the veterans be working with us in the communities in beautiful ways. And the homeless, to me, we just are meant to know how to listen from them. And so these are the kind of things that I would want Governor Newsom to understand, the way all the homeless are. As we listen, they'll rise out of the conditions. We just haven't known how to listen. We come from judgment, we come from wanting to fix them, but there's a different way when we relate from being the listening in exactly what their story is. There are amazing things that happen because there's no resistance.
Life moves too fast. Between all of your responsibilities and obligations, things get lost in the clutter that consumes your day. It begins to feel like an overwhelming river of never-ending chores impossible to stay on top of. Stress and anxiety become constant companions as our relationships begin to buckle under the burden of broken promises and obstructed communication. Life seems difficult, complicated, and too hectic to ever get anything done. It's time for a better way. It's time to change. Like a drop of water, little things can have a lasting, rippling effect on the world around us. We often allow ourselves to miss an ocean of opportunity and joy as we struggle to keep our heads above water. Centered on revolutionary concepts developed by Donna Bell, this webinar will transform your life from the inside out. Adopting Donna Bell's methods of life management and domestic empowerment may just be the most profound change in your life and in the lives of those around you. This remarkable course has been one of the best kept secrets among some of the most successful individuals and businesses over the last few decades. Now, for the first time, these techniques are being made available to anyone who has ever wanted to live a life less cluttered and overwhelming.
But I want you to know that that's what we were known for in the communities, was a ripple effect. There was something that they'd never seen before that came from, going in and doing this work. It was affecting whole communities. It was affecting entire neighborhoods before we even arrived at the door, and no one was coming. And I came to recognize what brought about that kind of result was the way people were untangling from these generational patterns as volunteers, as the ones that we were serving, as people being affected by this silent, remarkable thing occurring in the communities that they'd never seen.
And all of this has kind of evolved into your platform now. And your website is Bring Home America or Bringing Home America?
Bringing Home America. And it starts out with Bring Home America, which is where it's at with all these wonderful, peaceful demonstrations across the country. including what I've heard is now they were starting to, trying to break apart the peaceful demonstrations. And now they're literally wearing costumes and singing and standing for what their demonstration is. Pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very pivotal time here on
And
the
I
planet.
don't come from and against, okay? I come from recognizing, in the same way I went into communities, what was breaking apart.
So, what are you doing now with this Bring Home America platform?
I'm doing this first thing with you because I had designed it for the original platform that you're seeing. I thought was going to be for the podcast that would be on behalf of the work that we'd be doing in the different communities, being able to show the stories and stuff. And but it wasn't for that. It is, but you showed up in the most amazing way. And then I realized, oh, that's what I needed to have be on the website. That, like I said, suddenly broke apart. So, boy, have we got testimonials that will go up from all the people. And to give you an idea of one of the things that happened when in Utah, a mayor asked to have me come and meet with them, and they wanted to have the city trained, and they lost the funding after that. But I did create the proposal. The thing is, they wanted to know, the first thing was, why are the gangs leaving, Donna? And I said, oh, well, that's out of the love everybody's being. I said, it's generational patterns that are all unraveling with people so they can show up and be present in a way like they never have. Because the biggest thing I saw, I have worked with the wealthiest to the lowest of income. I've gone in and trained schools. I've had pilot projects going on for the schools at the timing of what we're in now. We've got things set up in ways that people couldn't imagine. It didn't come from me being an ego and I'm going to do this and I've got to go. It came from like a listening to a chessboard, the way it was all showing up to be ready for what we're doing now. And the thing is, as we go through and stand in this beautiful awareness of democracy, that's who we are. And as we are in that awareness of democracy, we're being we the people, not we the political, we the people, and caring and showing up and not having the answer, but caring and showing up. And that's all it takes. That's what happened with the ripple effect that I was recognized for. You'll see when you go into the behavior science assessment that's been created, how I was recognized even in getting an award in Washington, D.C. with Congress. But it was coming from recognizing realizing what this ripple effect was that they couldn't understand. That was
Great.
happening.
So let me just share a little bit from the website that we're looking at.
Absolutely.
And it says, Bring Home America. The culture we share is shifting rapidly. People within America are at a new crossroads in their lives. Ringing the bell throughout America is easily recognized as individuals gather in peaceful protest within our cities and nation. People who speak up on behalf of the needs of their families, their neighbors, and in our communities. As we stand up in our halls and churches and what truly is there for each of us on these issues of justice within our own personal life, family, and community. We also recognize millions united in peaceful demonstrations throughout our nation who express the same. When we join together, we come to recognize that the breaking apart of our democracy actually shines a light on the calamity directly in front of us. They show up as new opportunities and how we are being reshaped in our hearts with each other as the earthquake of friendship and peace.
Now that's vital right there. Instead of having calamities come upon us and force us, we become that love. Earthquake of friendship and peace. That's what they named us when we were going out there. I didn't name me. This is what they called us. They'd never seen anything like it.
And there's the video we watch. And it is interesting because especially right now with FEMA being defunded, and I think we're on day 16 of a government shutdown, we're starting to understand how important it is for people to learn how to collaborate and cooperate and to take care of each other and work more as a community, and putting that unity, that word unity, into the word community and actually embodying it and walking in a compassionate way.
Yes. And as you see here at the end of the artist space profile, go up a little bit, please. Here, we're saying bringing home America, person by person, home by home, community by community, and nation by nation. Okay. And what happened, as you'll go in on the website, you realize when I was at the International Year of the Family, I was literally approached by people that were wanting the presidents of countries wanting to have the trainings that we were doing in Utah and Arizona. And I couldn't do anything. And right now, I have the virtual already and the ways of knowing exactly how we go in and work with the members of churches across the nation and into the world that I didn't know was even going to occur the way that it is. So if you go up a little bit here, I want you to see something. The Art of Space Profiler. This is after working with the wealthiest to the lowest of income. And I discovered that everybody had the same patterns from the wealthiest. Have you ever heard the term of when a person has $1 billion and they think that they need to create another billion in place the first billion disappears? That's
Absolutely.
That material, that's coming from that mentality. And it's
So,
perfectly good.
so let's do this. In the few moments that we have left, how would people get in touch with you? And how do you see this Bring Home America project, moving forward? How do people get involved? How does this idea become a larger movement?
Okay, so what it is people are coming to me that want to be able to initiate going into their communities as working with the people in the communities and being a team. Okay. And I've got the trainings in the Artist Space Profiler to be able to train people how to recognize, get into that place of compassion, and then be able to be aware at a greater level than they could ever imagine. This Artist Space Profiler gets at limiting beliefs that no one knows they have, no matter who they are. And as we get at those limiting beliefs, we start to relate not from a push against, we start to relate from being present and showing up. So what is showing up is those trainings that can happen through the Artist Space Profiler. What is showing up is in the Artist Space Profiler from the profit side of how we can work with, let's say, credit unions, okay, because I've been doing that. And they just had instantaneous kind of results out of the work that we did, going in and just having the assessment there, training them in a virtual way that they just didn't know. It all comes from the things that are occurring in our home and our environments of offices and things like that. We're not being present to what's really happening in the behaviors that are making the decisions.
Fantastic. Well, we really appreciate your time.
You're
And
welcome.
what is your email? If people go to the website or they want to contact you for
At
more
the
information.
bottom, at the bottom of Bringing Home America, there is a Google Voice that they can leave information. There is an email at the bottom of the website. Soon there will be a very specialized number, okay? But that's what's available. And the thing is, you just go in and read what artofspaceprofiler.com is. It's really remarkable. And what happens is when they take the assessment, they only click on 6 pictures, most like their environment. And that becomes a actual assessment to them of recognizing behaviors and attitudes they didn't know they had just by picking the 6 pictures, and each picture signifies what one environment is. And then it takes you through in such a teaching process. At group level, it can be done in mass and at individual level. And it alters everything of the way you're relating to your world because you're getting present in ways you didn't know from what
Am-
the environment is that you chose, like yours.
Amazing. Well, Donna Bell, thank you so much for your time today. And we'll be posting this video soon to Regenerative Media TV. And at some point, we'll get to connect. We're both here in Colorado. And but really appreciate your decades of the work that you've done. And as it's maturing, but now it's really, we're at a time and a crossroads of the human experience where these are really powerful solutions to help people live the quality of life and the kind of life they want, and to be more compassionate and to have much more of a blessed life, and that the way that they interact and participate in their community and society and the world as a whole. So
And the
thank you so
world,
much.
as we arrive in our communities, it has an effect upon the world. That's what I found out when all those people were coming at me, wanting to have the presidents have these trainings, and I didn't know it.
Great. Well, we'll be in touch soon. Thank you. And I'll let you know when we post the video. And have a great day. And again, for those who are interested, go to the website bringinghomeamerica.com. Have a
No,
great day.
no, bringinghomeamerica.org.
Oh, bringinghomeamerica.org.
Yes,
Yeah,
and you know that the assessment that's there, artofspaceprofiler.com, is something that literally takes you out of the box of the way you think in relationship to your business, in relationship to your family, in relationship to being a policeman that goes out and is on the, out on the sidewalks. That is going to be brought to the police departments in a very special way with a beautiful man that is world famous, that literally, just imagine this, he goes into gangs, and after he teaches them chess, they come out of the gangs. Isn't that
amazing.
beautiful?
Amazing. Well, thank you for all the solutions and the work that you've been doing. And we'll definitely stay in touch. And I want to thank everyone for taking a little bit of your sacred time and space here in life to watch this video and get inspired by the work of Donna Bell. So thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day.
And I'll say one last thing, receiving what you're meant to receive instead of what you're willing to receive. And every degree of this allows you, and taking the assessment, to experience compassion in a way like you never have for yourself or the people around you or the situations going on. One last thing, Buckminster Fuller, who was famous scientist, he basically always said, do not push against. He said, build new models that allow the others to go obsolete.